Actually, Mr. Anderson asked us to look into the funding for the rifle team at an earlier meeting.
Yes,
Yes, and I contacted Mr. Gass.
we had a meeting with the mayor and UD at the high school. We decided that we will submit the funding for 0708, and we will continue. I made it clear to the parents that evening that the club will continue. We also are cognizant of the fact that the rifle club made several trips outside of the state, which becomes a financial, not burden, but big expense. So we also suggest to the parents, and they were willing to meet with Ms. Sue Cedar the following day, and she's going to have a group of parents that will participate in the fundraiser. But the bottom line, the club will continue as long as I'm there, and it will be funded, and so everything's all good. Right, sir? Questions?
So are were they receiving additional funds or something?
They wanted to make sure that the club, I remember the first statement of them was they don't want the team to be disbanded. I immediately clarified that that's not going to happen. So the funding will continue. Matter of fact, I talked to Mr. Washington, and we're going to submit more money, more funding.
What we want to do is find a way to put them in the budget somewhere, either in the ROTC or on the athletic.
Well, the Fed's been funding it up till now for the ROTC program, right?
4 years ago, they stopped.
4 years.
Well, how big is funding bill from last year?
Right. So actually, what happened, we had Mr. Kilo was in charge. He funded 70 to 80% of it. Big Highs must have the Coke machine at West Campus. He used funds from the Coke machine to fund the rifle team. The fund takes from the country. And what we tried to do was to assist a mix in 60-40 or 50-50 with Mr. Roller and with Mr. Vasquez. But what happens is that their program is escalated until they don't have 6 or 8 people, have 18 of funding. There's 2 trips scheduled to Colorado Springs, 2 trips scheduled to Fort Bend, Georgia, Ohio. We just don't have the time. They go on 3-hour trip to Streeter, Illinois, Quincy, Illinois, Waukegan, Illinois. And it just becomes a burden for the athletics. And what we really would like to do, long and short, is sit off the table with certain people, trying to get a budget established, and see how we can work out funding. Not this year, we'll probably do TJ5 with great help from Mr. Gerald, which was a great athletic board, and what we got in athletics. But we got to spare the dollars too. Some of this magnitude, significant impact, what we're capable of doing. And so we just need to, make a budget, make a proposal at that time of the year, off the ground rules. We got lots of money.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Peggy Brady?
My name is Peggy Brady. It is my spouse over here. I'm also here to talk about the rifle team. I also with their 18 last year in a row. I attended the meeting last Thursday meeting too, and I just want to put my 2 cents in. One of the things that came across me very much at this meeting was ROTC did not want to fund the rifle team because it's they consider it a sport. And the athletic department doesn't want to fund the rifle team because they don't consider it a sport, they consider it a club. And really, this was like the first time I heard the rifle team being considered a club. It has always thought it was a sport. It's an Olympic sport. They get their letters and their pictures up on the wall. And I guess in the past few years, the athletic department had been funding it predominantly more so than ROTC. On a more personal basis, at home, I'm thinking about my own son. He's a sophomore. He's on the rifle team. And, when you hear that, ROTC is not going to fund it, and you hear that the athletic department's not going to fund it, well, then you start to panic and you think it's going to be cut because we have had the experience of having athletics cut before in our family. When my daughter was a freshman in high school, she's a junior in college now, as when the board cut gymnastics. And it's really hard to explain to a high school student who's, beginning to realize that there is another world out there besides what their own experiences are. And, the whole, financial, it's just hard. There's great disappointment on the part of my daughter, and I can see the disappointment on the part of my son too. And I really want to encourage the board to figure out some way for the rifle team to continue. It does have its benefits, whether you want to consider it a sport or not. I mean, I just chuckle at my son when, he won't drink Coke, soda because it's too much caffeine, too much sugar. It's going to affect his performance. I mean, it's just, he gets to bed on time because he knows he's too tired. It's going to affect his performance. It's important. I know it's a smaller group, a smaller team, but it's one, it's a sport that he can do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bob Hewitt.
President Shipley, members of the Board of Education, last summer the New Sun published an article regarding the travel expenses and personal expenses for county board members. And as Anita and June and Jeff can attest, I was always a stickler about conference expenses and thought it was imperative that the board be frugal with the money they spend on attending conferences. So I thought I would call and see what was going on currently with the Board of Education. I believe my last year on the board, we were somewhere around $10,000, $11,000 for a budget. And when I called, I found out that that budget had indeed increased. So my curiosity was piqued, and as you're all aware of, I made a FOIA request to get the details of the travel expenses. And what you've got before you is a kind of a spreadsheet that indicates what conferences were attended and what monies were spent by each board member. And it's for your information. I will make note that this is for fiscal year 06. In that year, the board as a whole spent just a little bit under $18,000 on conferences and travel. It went anywhere from one board member spending a little bit over $500 to as high as another board member being up over $4,900. As a former board member, I do understand the importance of education and training for board members. As I said earlier, I also understand the importance or feel strong about being frugal with the travel expenses. Also attached to this spreadsheet is the two policies that currently dictate how the board, what they're able to do and how they're reimbursed. And I provided those for you because I think if you look at some of the activity on this spreadsheet and also look at the policies, there seem to be some activities that are contrary to the board's policy. So I would suggest that maybe you look at your policy and see if they